Good morning, everybody. So welcome to the resident town hall meeting for June. The bulk of our meeting is going to be talking about hurricane preparedness, but I have a couple things to go over before we get to that part. So I'm going to go through the employees of the month first, and I have a couple other comments, and then I'm going to call Devin up. He has a short presentation on the upcoming NIFS week that we're going to have later this month, or Camp NIFS is what we're calling it. So, did I put this in the wrong? It's okay, we'll go this way. So employees of the month for June, Independent Living, is Rick Parisi from Maintenance. So congratulations to Rick. For Assisted Living in the Arbors, it is Emelita Espinosa, and she is a caregiver. And then Chris missed the deadline for the photo for our Plaza West winner, and that's Muriel Brathwaite. She's an LPN at Plaza West, so congratulations to Muriel. A couple other comments I have. Just a reminder, tomorrow is our open house at Freedom Plaza Assisted Living and the Arbors. So if you have not seen either of those buildings post-renovation, I encourage you to go down and take a look. It looks beautiful down there. I think they're going to have refreshments and give tours and let you look around and see all the new flooring and paint and furniture and dining rooms. It looks amazing, so I encourage you to do that. Also want to take a minute to say congratulations to both Chris Grella and Teresa Lehman for their work anniversaries. Teresa has been here 17 years as of today. So congratulations to Teresa. Chris has been here 9 years, and that is our longest tenured administrator at Plaza West in the history of Freedom Plaza. So we stay real nice to him. We want to keep him around. So congratulations to Chris. One just real brief update about what we have going on with Spectrum, and I talked about it at the RAC meeting 2 weeks ago if you were there, but just a short repeat. Right now, you get the Swift Reach communications. We're still going through the process of swapping out the small DTA boxes for larger cable boxes. We know it was going to be a little bumpy. It has been, but we're getting there. I think they're working on 6th and 7th floor today, maybe part of 5. And then once we get through all the apartments, we're gonna go back and figure out who hasn't been swapped out yet, and we'll make sure you all get swapped out if you need to be. I know Spectrum has been calling some residents, trying to set up times or ask when you're gonna be home. Just ignore those calls. They should be working directly with our maintenance team on those schedules. So hoping to be done by the end of this week with all the equipment swap out. So we'll keep you informed. Once we get through that stage, I will let you know what our next step is. But just informationally, this swap out of equipment would have happened whether we got a new contract or not, because Spectrum is no longer going to support the small DTA boxes regardless. So that's why we're swapping out these boxes right now. And with that, I'm going to call Devin up, and he's going to talk about some NIFS happenings this month.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So today we're going to be talking about Camp NIFS. It's going to be pretty brief, so if you have questions, I'm not going to take them. Just speak to me after town hall, because I know Angie's got a lot to cover today. So just a brief overview of what Camp NIFS is. It's a 4-day event of activities starting on the 17th, and it's going to end on the 21st. So these are the days and activities that will be happening. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday is open to answering any questions that you may have. So I didn't want to put in an activity. I wanted to make sure everybody was on the same page and knew what was happening throughout the week. this calendar and then the June calendar along with the brochure is gonna be up by Stephanie, so if you have any questions, I'll be standing by it, and then you can grab one on the way out. So the events are Tuesday, it's gonna be a nature trail, so I mapped it out, if you see me outside, that's what I'm doing, it's gonna be 20 to 30 minutes, starting at 8 a.m. I know, it's early, but hey, it gets really hot in the summer, so I don't know what was worse, 8 a.m. or like noon in like 95-degree weather. So we had to pick. If the weather is not conducive to the walk in any nature, I will have a substitute. I'm still trying to figure that out, but there will be another option, just in case. So I am thinking about that. Wednesday is gonna be senior cardio kickboxing. So that should be kind of fun. We'll give it a shot. And then the next activity that day is gonna be golf. So it's called Prime Drive Golf. It's strength and conditioning for seniors. So if you want to improve your golf game, stop by and I might have some tips for you on how to improve your training for golf specifically. I know golf's really big around here, so I thought I'd touch up on that. Thursday is a scavenger hunt. So new adventures, that's going to be involving, doing things, looking for things. It's going to be outside and inside. I'm still working on creating that, so I don't have a whole lot of details. And then Friday is hydration station. It's going to be with Kona Ice, and there is still more to come on that as far as location. But does everybody know what Kona Ice is? No? So Kona Ice is shaved ice with flavoring. I think that's what it is, really? Yeah. Ice cream truck, but with ice. So that should be kind of fun. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, calendars for June and Camp Nifs are over by Stephanie. I'll be standing by them. And then there is a brochure too. If you have questions, I'll be available. Okay? That's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Devin. I told him he had to keep it short because we lose people's attentions if these meetings get too long. So now we're going to move on to our hurricane preparedness presentation for 2024. I did see Deputy Mary sneak in the back. If he has anything he'd like to come up and talk about just in general for the area with relationship to hurricane preparedness, or whatever he'd like to talk about. We always give him the stage when he's available.
So good morning, everyone. I just wanted to come by and have a little bit of talk about hurricane preparedness. As usual, the Weather Channel and all the other stations say we're going to have a very active season. But what we're telling people and what we're asking people is to be prepared and make a plan. And you're here today so that you can know how to be prepared and how to make a plan. The first thing that we really want you to do is decide if you're going to stay here or go. All right. What gets people in trouble is they wait till the last minute. They don't, am I going to go? Am I going to stay? And then they end up on I-75 in the middle of Ocala, stuck in the middle of the storm, right? Or they end up in Valdosta and there's no gas, or there's no hotels, or there's nothing for miles. So make your plan. Hey, I'm going to stay. I'm going to join the hurricane parties. We're going to make Teresa make margaritas and break out the machine, or you're going to leave, right? So make a plan, understand it, stick with it, and don't change it. That's where we get caught up. That's when you're stuck at Wawa paying $48 for 10 bottles of nasty water. So, but I will tell you this: you're in a good place. You're not in an evacuation zone. You've got a well-built building. You've got a very good staff here, before and after the storm. My recommendation, my overall recommendation is shelter in place. Stay here. Be prepared. Be prepared to be without, make a few little things. Go pick up a few things before the season. Well, the season has already started, but go pick up a few things now, like, a case of water and just store it in your closet. While they're still cheap, right? Go pick up a little weather radio that's battery powered, right? And then just be prepared and continually get updates. And also be prepared to kind of, if need be, be without some services for a few days. The last year we had CVS, Walgreens, and Publix were closed for like 4 days. So if we do have an impending storm, make sure you're gonna have enough medication to make it through. Make sure you've got some water. The pump stations will run even without electricity, but y'all have full generators now, right? For the entire facility? Right. Now, it'll run enough that your medical equipment is still gonna run, your toilets are still gonna run as long as you have water. So if we have a storm and it's about 2 days out and we know it's gonna hit us, fill your bathtub up. Because then you can just take that water out, put it in your toilet. Nobody wants the toilet sitting for a couple days, right? It'll still flush, all you gotta do is put water in the back. But, just little things. I know you're gonna have a nurse on staff, but understand that during the storm, EMS is not going to be able to come to Freedom Plaza. So at 35-mile-an-hour sustained winds, there are no more emergency services. So what your staff can handle here is only what you're gonna be able to get, which is pretty good. It's better than most places. And then once the winds die back down under 35, then they'll come back out. We stop at 35-mile-an-hour winds, fire rescue stops at 30-mile-an-hour winds, and actually emergency squad stops closer to 30 because they're volunteers and that way they can get home. So we also have a large command center in Sun City Center. Anytime an impending storm comes up, we go to the command center, and this building, Angie has direct access to us through radios. We disperse radios to all the facilities and all the independent living places in Sun City Center, and they can directly talk with the command post. So if cell phones go down, landlines go down, we know that we have that communication continuously and available and open. So really we've got a good plan. Mike Bardell, myself, emergency management, fire rescue for this area. The only thing that's really in a evacuation zone is the bottom part of Kings Point, and that's like evacuation zone E, which means all of Florida's in trouble. Like there'll be nothing left. So, but until that point, you're good. You're good to shelter in place, a good building, a good staff, well prepared. Just do a couple little things on your end to make sure you can get through it. Again, medication, hurricane snacks that you'll end up eating the first hour, stuff like that. Just have a little bit of that and be prepared, and then that way we can make it through and all make it through, and at the end of it say, hey, we made it through another one. We've gotten brushed every year. We get a little brush though, and you remember 2 years ago we had all that power out. A third of Sun City Center was out for 2 days. So if you have the little things, you can make it through that. Just be prepared, get a little checklist going, have that stuff ready, and if you are going to evacuate, leave 6-7 days early, and make sure you're not going into its path. Hurricanes, like the rest of the world, love I-75, straight up, straight down. All right, so go out of the path, but just mentally be prepared, and then do the little things. That's all we ask. We'll give it back to Angie, but I'll be in the back if y'all have any questions after the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Deputy Mary did such a wonderful job, there's no need for me to say anything else, right? So we're just going to talk real quick about some hurricane preparedness. A couple of fun facts, though. I don't know if these are fun for you all, but there's supposed to be 17 to 25 named storms this year. Doesn't mean they're going to be severe, but just named storms in general. Out of those 17 to 25, 8 to 13 could be hurricanes, okay? And 4 to 7 major hurricanes. So, like Deputy Mary said, we're gonna have a very busy year this year, okay? Hurricane season starts from June 1st to November 30th, with the peak season being September, right? So, like the last couple of months are usually the months that we worry most about and try to prepare for. But it starts June 1st. Okay, here's some disaster preparedness guide. If you go to www.hillsborocounty.org, you can find this information on there, and it's 3 steps to disaster preparedness. We have a pack of a disaster kit, make a plan, and stay informed. All this information is on that website, and it's there at your fingertips to access. Some ways to stay informed: we have the HCFL alert. We have the Swift Reach here. We have a daily memo, and you can also go to HCFL to get information as well, right? Everybody knows what a Swift Reach is? I know we have some new people here, but if in case of emergency, Civi usually does that. They send out a Swift Reach, and it's a message sent to all residents, right? Sometimes dining sends out a Swift Reach, maintenance sends out a Swift Reach for an outage, or if there's a problem with internet or something like that, they'll send out a Swift Reach. It's just a notification to all residents stating what is going on, right? Usually when that happens, the front desk phone lights up like a Christmas tree, because everybody still wants to know what's going on, right? But that's what the Swift Reach is for. It's just to keep you informed when there's an emergency or something happening. Resident safety info. Stephanie is in the process of updating this information, and she'll have that available for residents. So you can stop by her desk at your convenience, and she'll notify everyone when she's updated this information, right? Some of you may also have this from like last year, the last presentation that we did here, but it's just like safety and emergency information, and it's a package put together by Mr. Cole, and it just states like what you need to do in case of emergency here at Freedom Plaza. Okay, we have a disaster preparedness manual. This is passed down to us by LCS, Operations, Procedures, and Quality Standards Manual, and it's pretty much soup to nuts for hurricane preparedness regarding Plaza West, Freedom Plaza Assisted Living, Memory Care, and Freedom Plaza. So every year, I do this thing called a CEMP, which is the Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan. I have to submit that to the county once a year, right? And it pretty much states that we are prepared in case of emergency here at Freedom Plaza and the rest of the buildings here on campus. Entailed in that is a disaster aid agreement, receiving communities, which is Freedom Point and the villages, and transferring communities are Freedom Square and Seminole. What that means is that these are the communities that we either go to in case we need to evacuate or to have an emergency, and the communities that we will receive, it's a written agreement between both executive directors saying that we either come to you and you provide aid to us, and you can come to us and we'll provide aid to you depending on the situation, okay? Also, what's not up here either is like, I've partnered with several hotels, one's in Atlanta and one's in Jacksonville. So in case we do need to evacuate, I have a planned agreement set up with them that they're one of the hosting hotels that will take our residents in case we need to evacuate them here. We also have bus finders will transport all residents and staff, right? This is a contracted agreement between this company called Bus Finders where they will come pick us up if we need to evacuate in the appropriate amount of time and take us to where we need to go. Next, we have the Disaster Preparedness Manual again. These are Cisco agreements, and these are all the things that are entailed into that agreement that I was just talking about for my comprehensive emergency management plan. We have the Cisco agreements, and that provides fresh food. We have deliveries, and this is set up through dining. Nestle water agreements. We have the emergency power plan, which is showing what type of generators we do have on campus and their capacity, and what they're actually for and what they power. We have the county flood zones, the fire plan, which is evacuation routes, what Deputy Mayor was just talking about. And we also have infection control and for outbreaks, just in case we're like sheltering in place and stuff and everybody's around one another. What do we do if there's an outbreak or something like that? How we plan for that and we prepare for that. We also have the associate commitment forms. These are forms that are filled out by the associates with their address and stuff like that, their personal information, so we can contact them. Also, detailed in that is information just in case we're in a situation where you aren't allowed to transport or transfer or travel in certain situations. We give them a form to carry in their vehicle saying, hey, I am in an emergency situation and I am allowed to travel back and forth to work. They keep that in their vehicle just in case there's roads closed or anything like that, and they're only letting in essential personnel. So we have a team A, B, and C. Team A, I'm sorry. Thank you, Amy. So we have teams set up, right? Teams A, B, and C, directors and associates that are currently working at the community. Usually maybe like a day or two, sometimes depending on the severity of the situation. If we know we're gonna hit by a hurricane, maybe a day or two, team A, we will come, we'll post up here, we'll stay on campus until the storm hits us, until after it passes, and then teams B and C will come in and provide assistance like that so team A can go home and get some much needed rest. I don't know if you all remember, like last time there was a hurricane headed this way. Team A, we came on board early and we stayed here throughout the hurricane. Stevie was part of that, myself and some other employees who signed up for that. Pretty much we just made sure that the campus was okay, right? Fallen trees, we made sure the roadways were okay to travel on back and forth. We didn't take on as much damage as I thought, and the hurricane wasn't as bad as we thought it was gonna be, but we had prepared to make sure we were in a situation where we could fix things as they appear. So that's pretty much it for the associate commitments. How to weather a hurricane. Probably the one on the left, right? Get your nice stiff drink and hanker down in place. Preparations for a hurricane. These are some of the things that you'll need for a hurricane. Water, 6 gallons, 3 for drinking and 3 for flushing. Radio, make sure your radios are battery powered, right? In the event that we lose power, we do have generators here on campus, right? But they only power essential things. We do have outlets throughout the community. I think some on the 3rd floor, right, Sydney? Red outlets. We have about 5 or 6 at the front desk. They're red outlets. That means if we lose power, those outlets still have power going to them, right? So people who are on oxygen and who have vital equipment that needs to be powered, you can use those outlets. Batteries are essential. Cell phones, make sure your cell phones are charged, right? So in the event we know we're gonna get hit by a hurricane, charge all your devices, they can be charged, fully charged. A manual can opener, because of course, electric one is not gonna work. Non-perishable foods, first aid kits, medications, flashlights, trash bags, disposable plates, napkins, cutlery, paper towels, toilet paper, sanitizing wipes, hand sanitizers, empty gallon jugs. And if I'm not mistaken, Teresa, you guys are selling those still? Yeah, so you can pick up those things from dining as well. Tub stopper, pet supplies, linen, storms, cleaning, clothing, laptop, and tablets. Make sure you have cash. A lot of times banks might not be open. You might not be able to get cash if you need it. Oxygen users, extra tanks, and backup charge batteries. So we're going to talk a little bit about emergency the water. I'm going to call Pam up. She's going to elaborate a little bit on that. And Teresa.
You know, Jeff, A, B, and C team has just arrived. Didn't even say that we were on campus, because we're responsible for feeding everyone. But every year, I usually take care of the hurricane preparedness. This year, I've passed that torch over to Pamela. She is going to be leading that, along with Chef Jamie. That does not mean I will not be here, because this is where I live during a hurricane. So I'm used to it, and I will still be here, but the team is definitely doing a good job taking care of it. So I'm going to pass it on over to her.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so emergency water, very important, correct? So we have emergency water sign-ups. You have probably seen it for the last month. It is located right in front of my office. It has a little sign similar to this one that you see there, and you're able to sign up through Friday, June the 7th, which is this coming Friday. You're able to sign up for 2.6 gallon emergency smart bottles with pour sports. and then smart containers at $7 each. Then you're able to sign up for bottled water, $8 per case of 24. It is recommended that each resident have at least 2 cases of bottled water for emergency purposes, along with gallons of water for sanitation. The distribution date will be determined based on the amount of water that is brought in, and all of the charges will be posted to your auxiliary account. The distribution date is probably scheduled a week after June the 7th, and we will be letting you know what day it is. All the waters will be taken in carts, and if you need the waters to be put into a closet or something, please open the door and let us know where the water will be going. And this is the preparation for water for hurricanes. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the water, please email me, or you can call my phone line directly for any additional water concerns. It is about being prepared during this hurricane season, and this is the portion that the dining team takes care of, as well as, of course, the food on the days of. We will be prepared just like all the other teams here for making sure that you have enough food, and the plans are similar to what we've had in prior years. Is there any questions regarding water? Fairly simple. Right? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Pam. And for all those you can remember, last year when we delivered the water, it is a joint effort by all the departments to deliver the water. Some residents ordered quite a few cases of water and stuff like that. And we don't want you to be burdened with putting that stuff away, so we will take it into your apartment and we'll put it where you need to have it put at, okay? And that's it. Anybody have any questions? No?
Sylvie's
Going
gonna come up and add a few things as far as what maintenance is gonna be doing for preparation.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Jeff. So just to add on to much of the preparation that you guys have already heard, as you know, I think many of you have already weathered quite a few of the storms with us, and you've seen a lot of the prep work in advance. Starting this week, CNS landscapers are going around. They're started down at the AL building, and they're trimming all the trees across campus. They're going to remove some trees as well. That'll be into next week. But this week, they're trimming a lot of the branches that are touching the buildings, palm trees, oak trees, and that'll hopefully alleviate any kind of window damage or building damage should we get some high winds that come through here. So we have that going on. With generators at GVT, we've got 6 brand new propane tanks, all filled 100%. They've all been tested. One of the buildings, building 10, we've got to do a little bit of work on that generator. However, it's operational, so not to be alarmed, not to be worried. All those generators will be working and are in place should anything occur. Talking about tree trimming as well, TICO was here about 3 weeks ago, and on the nature trail, as Devin was mentioning, there's actually some power lines that feed the campus. That's the second power source for our campus. So they're trimming and cutting back trees that are near the power lines. Last year they did that, and if you remember, I believe it was last year or the year before, Sun City was out of power. We actually had power during the whole storm. There was a couple times the power glitched and went in and out, and that's because TICO was able to transfer power through different transformers on the campus. So them trimming those trees on the back line has really helped us keep us going as far as power goes, and that goes a long way really within the community as well, because that was known. I think Officer Mary knows in other communities they knew we had power, whereas they did not. So we can actually give them assistance if need be in that situation as well. Talking about generators, of course, our AL assisted living building, the memory care, and also Plaza West has a full building generator that's powered by natural gas. So as long as, say, power does go out, those buildings will be fully functional, the elevators, the air conditioning, all the equipment, so we have nothing to worry about. Of course, if it's a catastrophic issue and natural gas is cut off, that will be the only time those generators will not run. Now in that situation, we do have support through our corporate contractors. Some of you have seen when we had the water loss, the contractors were here doing the repairs. They've also got resources to bring generators on site and then connect into our transfer switch, which is there at the buildings. So we've got essentially a plan B. There's also a plan C. We've got a contract with Sunbelt. They will also add and bring us a generator if need be. Last year, I believe we utilized both vendors, and we actually had 2 backup generators for our kitchen and also 2 for our lift station at GBT. So we've got ample support from our corporate, our regional, within the community, and all these vendors have been in place for a number of years already. So we have established relationships with them. So that goes a long way in giving you guys reassurance, that we're gonna take care and do the best we can, and we're trying to make sure those are in place now. This building, as far as the generator goes, the biggest change and addition that we did was add those red outlets that Jeff was mentioning. Every floor, every wing, on your wing, you've got 4 red outlets which are powered by the generator. So that means on a full wing, there's 8 outlets total. In totality in this building, we added 112 outlets, and that is adding usage to the generator. So when you keep that in mind, those outlets are only meant for life safety equipment. Any of your oxygen, breathing equipment, not to be used for a fridge, microwave, TV, any appliances. As much as you want to use it, and we'd love for you guys to be able to utilize it for those uses, if we do that, then we're going to drain the generator, of course, because it's going to draw that much more power. So in case we do actually lose power and we need to go, 4 days, 5 days, a week, 2 weeks, we want to minimize what we're using off of that generator. And in the case, say we do lose power, the system that we got in place, we've got extension cords at the end of each hallway. They're in a separate bin. So if you need some sort of power, you'll have to put in a request, or we'll have to make some sort of communication so that we know who's going to need that at that time, and we'll run and bring the extension cords to your apartment from the outlet. Those cords are not going to run across the ground. They'll come out the outlet, and we're going to hang S-hooks across the ceilings so that the cords will be run up above just in case, and try to alleviate any kind of a trip hazard. And again, that's the plan, and it's not intended, I don't feel that every apartment's going to need one. So again, just keep in mind, if it's something that you need for your breathing equipment, then those are in place. Now GBT, keep in mind, we do not have those outlets there. Unfortunately, at this point, it's taken a number of years just to get it here. So at Gulfview Terrace, for right now, make sure you have backup tanks, backup batteries that are charged, and everything that you need. Make that plan now. Down the road, we'll see what we can do with those generators to add some outlets in those hallways. Just to give you an idea, the generator here is a 250 kW. Those generators there are 16 kW, so they're much smaller. So the amount of equipment that can be put on there is much less. So instead of 4 outlets, maybe we can do 2 outlets. So that's what we're trying to figure out at this point. And that would be 2 outlets on each floor. So maybe 6 outlets in total. But it would be something more than what we have now. We talked about water to the buildings. Essentially, our water supply is coming from Hillsborough County. So unless something catastrophic happens, we should continue to have that water supply. You should be able to flush your toilets and make use of cold water. If we lose power, the boilers are not on the generator. So you'll have cold water at least. Again, in a catastrophic situation, if they have to cut the water supply off, that's when you need to make sure you've got an ample water supply to sustain you for at least 3 to 4 days. But again, that's the extreme situation, but we still need to be planned for that because you never know. And as Officer Mary mentioned, and Jeff as well, as far as evacuation goes, if you're going to evacuate, definitely do it ahead of time when the services are all putting out the warning for that. Because if you remembered, I think it was Ian or one of those storms, all the roads, even the boulevard, had substantial limbs down. All the roads on 674, the traffic lights were down within 2 days prior to the storm even hitting. So that would have been too late, essentially, for anybody to evacuate. Outside of that, any other comments, questions from anyone? Yes.
Jimmy, in GBT, you just explained how generators might help for some of the sleep equipment. But what is it designed for other than that? What are we going to have down there?
So the main purpose of those generators is to provide lighting in the stairwells, in the corridors, and the entryway light in your apartment. So essential lighting to move around within the building. The elevators will not be on the generator, but for any instance, if you needed to come out of the building, you could. But again, if the power is down and we're in a storm, best thing for you to do is stay in the apartment. One piece of advice I could give, there are bulbs that are battery operated, battery charged, LED bulbs you can buy. I think they're a 6-pack on Amazon for less than $40, I believe. Those bulbs are just a regular bulb. You can screw it into a lamp and it'll work like a regular bulb does, but when you lose power, the battery will charge that bulb and it has a switch on it. So essentially, if you got 6 bulbs and put one in every room, then you would have lighting in your whole apartment. I mean, I wouldn't run it for the whole time, but just keep it as needed and you should be good. Again, just look for type in battery powered bulb on Amazon and you'll see many different options.
Cindy, my question concerns the red outlets in the halls. First of all, thank you for putting them in. That was very good. And I understand the limited use of those, and I applaud that. Does that apply to cell phones also? And to power the cell phones from those red
So
outlets?
a cell phone is low wattage, it's low amperage. I think really they're less than 1 amp as far as what's going to pull on it. So a cell phone is considered minor equipment. Really, once you start really a television, microwave, appliances is what we're trying to avoid. Essential equipment, cell phones, yes, is kind of mandatory during a storm. Granted, as long as we still have cell service as well.
Cindy, I don't believe I heard anybody mention that you want to make sure your gas tank is filled. Because if the storm is a heavy storm and it takes out some of these gas stations, you will not be able to get gas.
You are right,
The trucks will
correct.
not get in.
That's correct, yes. So really up until the storm, I mean, weeks prior, it'd be good for you guys to go and get gas because that same train of thought, everyone's gonna be having that too, and all the gas stations will have lines. So if you're not traveling that much, I mean, really starting right now, it'd be good to start keeping your tank full. Yes.
Yeah, my question is, you've got all these generators. What happened last month when everybody was down?
Was that in this building?
Yes. Yes.
So even in this
Kitchen
building,
was down, your front desk was down, everything was down. So I'm just curious, we got these generators, what happened?
so even in this building, the generator does run, but it does not power the full building. Air conditioning is not powered. The front desk has minimal usage there. Their phones will work up to a point that works off a battery backup that's on the 3rd floor. The kitchen has a few pieces of equipment that will run off the generator, the walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer, and a few of the main items. Not everything will run. And the reason for that, originally, it's just meant for life safety purposes again. All 6 elevators will run if needed on the generator, but when it comes on, only 1 elevator on both sides will run. Again, that's just to keep down the draw on the generator. Plaza West Healthcare and Assisted Living, of course, that fell under that mandate in 2019. We needed to provide the full building air conditioning, so that's why those buildings have a full building generator. At that time, that was the easiest solution to provide generated power. So again, within this building, everyone is expected really to understand the planning measure that needs to take place. And really, when the power's out, it's better to stay put if you can, because again, lighting is going to be minimal. And again, with a generator, it's not a fail-safe. The generator's tested weekly. It runs an engine test for 30 minutes every Monday. We do a load bank test where we put it on load once a quarter with a vendor. But again, it's still equipment. There's chances for failure, and that can happen, unfortunately. But we try to take every measure we can so that everything works as it should. Yes. So her question was people that use a CPAP machine, right? So again, if you can keep backup battery power for that, that's the idea. But again, in this building, we do have some outlets that you can use for that equipment. So we got emergency power for you. Correct. We would bring the cord to your apartment, and then we'll make sure we run enough power. If we need another cord to get it to your bed or a living room, then that's what we would do. Any other questions, or? Yes, one more in the back.
Did you want us to tell someone in advance if you have a CPAP machine?
I'll jump in here,
Go
Cindy.
ahead.
So, I'm optimistic that Lisa will be back in a few weeks, and part of her role in, when we have a storm coming is that she maintains a list of folks that have any type of medical equipment, whether that's oxygen or CPAPs or other devices that need power to run. So her or Sherry will reach out well in advance of a storm to update that list and make sure we have we know who all has that type of equipment. So yes, we will know, we will specifically be checking on those folks. And like the idea here is, talking about cell phones and medical equipment, is if you have the ability to have battery backup power for those devices, that's the expectation. And then if there is extended periods of time that we don't have power and the battery backup runs out, then we have these emergency outlets that you will be able to utilize. Fortunately, the last several storms, we didn't have extended power outages, but it's always good to be prepared for the possibility that that could happen at some point. So you can get little individual battery packs for cell phones. I have them. If you keep those charged and your device is charged, once you lose the charge on your phone, you can plug it into the battery, and then you can wait till that drains before you would have to access any of the emergency outlets. So the other point I wanted to make, we talked about what Gulfview Terrace has or doesn't have, what we have here. I communicate pretty regularly throughout a storm and well in advance of a storm. So folks that live at GVT, we always extend the offer that if they would like to come up and stay here throughout the storm in this building, they are welcome to do that. Most people say no, thanks, but no thanks. I know I would probably do the same thing, but if that's something that makes you feel more comfortable, if you live at Gulfview Terrace, that's always an option for you in the event that we have a storm heading our way. Any other questions? All right, well, hopefully we don't have to worry about any of this. That's always the goal, right? But it's essential to be prepared. So I encourage you to make sure you have water, sign up for water through dining if that's easier for you. And then if you have any questions about other items that you should have in the apartment, please reach out to myself or Sibby or Jeff. We're happy to help you through that process as well. So thank you all very much.